Hello, everyone. Hope you are having a great day today. I'm having a good friend of mine, Philip, who's going to talk and speak with us about his recent experience about localizing his application. Hi, Philip. How are you?
Hi, Sherry. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. I mean, we have met like 3 weeks ago in Egypt. So
Mhm.
basically, let's just start with this. How was your, how was your experience in Egypt?
Well, it was great. Like I was surprised. I mean, everybody talks about it, how friendly Egyptians are, but you're always like, okay, maybe not so friendly, but yeah, it was great. I mean, we had not one single bad experience. Like obviously, sometimes when you're at the very touristy places, you get a lot of requests, but nothing like really as bad as people were saying. And we've been with you, other people from Egypt that have hosted us, and it has always been very great. And the experience at the pyramids, like you have seen them so many times, but seeing them in live, seeing the temples, that are 4,000 year olds, seeing the colors and the writings of the hieroglyphs, it is mind blowing. And yeah,
Yes, the colors like they have been painted like yesterday. Like you see them like
yes.
white and etc. Actually, it was amazing hosting you at my house and meeting my family. I when we first met, I said, okay, let's get Philip and his girlfriend to see the real Egyptian countryside, and I hope you enjoyed it.
And we did. It was
Okay,
lovely.
okay. So now, Philip, first let's. I mean, for those who don't know your application,
Mhm.
please tell us what does your application do exactly? How does it help people like me
Yeah.
and
Yeah, so the application, or like the company that I founded at the beginning of this year, called Exakt Health, and it is a medical device as an application, like a mobile application that helps people to recover from sports injuries. So if you, for example, if you're a runner or a triathlete and have like torn your hamstring or have an Achilles injury, and you need to kind of recover from it, you need to do certain exercises, but at the right intensity to build back your muscle and your strength and endurance. And we help you with that with like an individualized rehabilitation plan that gives you the right exercises on the right day. And we launched the application in August this year, and our first version was launched in English. But we are available, or like addressing the entire European market, because we are a European medical device, and meaning that we have a lot of customers also from Germany, but also from France and Spain, and most of them have been using it in English, obviously, as it was the only language. But it can be quite technical sometimes, right? If you read about medical information, if you get medical advice, as we do, so makes a huge difference whether it's in your native language or just a second language that you might like be able to speak quite well, but sometimes the little details might get lost. So that was our problem.
so basically that this led you to localize or translate the application into other different languages to make it easier for your customers to consume the information and advice you are giving them, right?
Exactly. So if you talk about muscle injuries and understanding whether it's a torn muscle or just like or which muscle is this exactly, and what things you should try to avoid or what things you should be doing, it's quite complicated information, and you're using that vocabulary not every day, even if you're used to do like business English. And the second element obviously is we try to get the customers while they search online. So if you go on Google and research your injury, you would typically do that in your native language and not in English. So if you're in Spain, in Madrid, and you're researching like why my Achilles hurts, you're doing this in Spanish. And if all our content would be in English, then it would be very hard for Spanish users to find us. And so it's one thing of making the product easier to understand, but obviously also to attract more customers and improve our user acquisition process.
Okay, so I think we will need to talk more about with this idea
Mm-hmm.
of your methodology or approach to localize the content of the application. But before this, um, before we talk about the linguistic and technical aspects of the localization
Mm-hmm.
itself, what I understood is that developing or the idea of the application came out from a real experience you had as an
Mm-hmm.
athlete before, right?
Yes, well, I wouldn't call myself like not a professional athlete in any way,
Okay.
but like a more like a like amateur athlete. And I was running myself, and so the application was that I was preparing for an ultra marathon, which I actually still was able to finish in the Italian Alps. But afterwards, I got an injury, and it was really hard to find the right help from doctors, because either they didn't have enough time for me to diagnose me adequately, or they just didn't have enough time to explain me what to do. And obviously, it's not possible to call your doctor every day and ask like, okay, today it hurt, like what should I do now? And that's where the app steps in and supporting that process of like, okay, I can give feedback to the application saying like, today I have my symptoms increased. Well, then the application will tell you, well, you should take it easy, or you should do like a very light exercise in order to stimulate like the blood flow and things like this. And that's something that I built myself in an Excel actually, before I started that app. And then I realized, okay, there are more people than just me having the same issue. So I want to build an app out of this and make it available for as much people as possible.
Philip, that's why I still know that this is the application is still young, but actually I expect it to have a good success, because it came out from a real experience, and you have been through many of this experience, so you know exactly what people like you that had injuries are looking for. So I expect the application to have a great success in the near future, not far away actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so regarding the localization part of the application, I mean, so now you are localizing only the application, or the application plus the website, or at least you have plans to localize the website itself also?
So initially, we actually had the idea to only or like start localizing our website, and we have a like our strategy in English, or like our marketing on an acquisition strategy is to provide a lot of useful free content on the website via blog posts. So we had kind of like 60 plus blog posts on the website in English already, which are of high quality medical information. So our initial idea was simply to start localizing the website plus the blog post in order to like raise awareness in those countries about our services. Well, then realize obviously if you read a blog post in Spanish about that injury and you find that interesting and want to download the app, then you would expect it obviously to be also in Spanish. So we then quickly need to understand, okay, we also need to localize the application. And so the entire project in the end was localizing the website, our blog, and the application.
Philip, what's really interesting to me is that you are clearly have an idea about the relationship between ROI and the localization efforts. That would talk, because when you are referring to localization, you are always referring to it as a way of customer acquisition. So you already understand. I mean, this was my next question. But I think you have already answered it. But still, I need to have more details about this. This is really interesting for me. What made you think about localizing the application?
Well, it was, to be honest, like one data point that I was looking at that made it very obvious in the acquisition funnel. It is looking at that we are a European medical device. So that means we can only offer at this point the application for European countries, as it's like we're giving medical advice, so we need to be certified. But so if you do English content in Europe, like you would get a lot of American visitors, because this is kind of the biggest English speaking country. And so we see that like 80% at some point was of our traffic and our users that try to download the app were US Americans. And then we realized, okay, and in order to get more European users, we obviously need to go more into the local European languages. And so that was kind of when we saw this in our Google data, and then it was clear to us. And as well as we got like when we talked with friends and family about the application, and then we wanted to get them to use it. We realized like especially a little bit older generation or people that do not work every day in English, which is something common, for example, in the tech and tech economy. They were wanting to use the app in German or Spanish, like in their native language. So like these two data points made us realize, okay, in order to be more successful and have more users in our countries where we operate, we need to go local.
So basically, it was like as you said, a data point, something that is real coming, not just reading some statistics from another industry that pushed you. So what I understood is that you have been through your Google Analytics dashboard. You have seen that most of the visitors are coming from countries or from regions that are not your ideal customer, right? So you decided to attract them to attract your ideal customers who are should be like mainly Europeans by localizing the application into the most known or common European languages, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is, I mean, when you looked at the dashboard, definitely you had many people coming from different European languages. Why did you? I think why did you choose? I think you have chosen like 3 languages: French, Romanian,
Spanish,
I think, Spanish,
French, Spanish, and German.
and German.
French,
okay,
Spanish, and German.
Okay. Why did you decide to take or to start at least with these 3 languages?
I think there are a few factors factoring into it. Obviously, if you look at the population, you would see that these are the 3 biggest European countries after including the UK, which we already serve with English. Then there's obviously a question, should you also do Italian, which is also a big country? But so we said, okay, let's start with like a limited number of languages because that reduces the complexity of the project and see how successful we are with that. And the other element is that internally, like within the company, we're 6 people at this point, and we all, or like at least we can cover those 3 languages. I personally speak German, obviously, as a German citizen, born, and I do speak quite well French, so I could kind of also like proofread things and have like a French friends and basically French friends that could also help proofread things and help select like a good translator. And the Spanish is because my co-founder, Lucia, she is native Spanish, so she would be able to pick a good translator, but also proofread and make sure that the quality and the tone of voice fits to our messaging. So that was like, I would say these elements, like the size of the country and the addressable market and the ease of being able
quality
to
assurance.
Quality assurance,
Yes, to do the quality assurance. So you did the quality assurance part of the translation process internally by you and your team members, right? Okay. So before handling or giving the content, I'm trying to take the process from A to Z. As we discussed before, at least before the recording. So before handling the brief or what did you had to make some technical changes? I'm not sure if you can answer this question. I'm not sure if you are the developer of the application, but did you make any changes inside the application itself before starting the localization process, or you just collected the content?
No, so we run our application, or like 90% of our content for the application itself is hosted by Contentful, which is a content management platform. So it was already very clean and structured, the content, so it's not hard coded somewhere where you would have to extract it. So in Contentful, it's a matter of like upgrading your plan so that you can localize the content. And then you would, and you can basically translate the content. You can either translate it directly in the content management platform, but it is obviously not a localization tool. But they have like a plugin so that we can export the content to a translation tool and like sync it between those. So technically, it was supposed to be a very easy process. But like once you're going into the process, you always realize there are some difficulties that you then need to.
Nothing is always smooth 100%. You definitely have some challenges. But let me, like, if we are in a live environment, I would bat you in the bag because we receive many requests from clients, like people who have websites and maybe applications sometimes. But we usually have technical difficulties because they did not think about the localization of their website or application before designing itself, before designing the website or the application. Then they hard code everything inside the application or the website, and they come back to us and we say we can't integrate our translation tools with the content to make the to streamline the process. But definitely your content management platform is doing a great job by giving you the ability to export and integrate the different translation tools inside the application. So again, sorry, Philip, but what is the name of the content platform?
It's called Contentful. Content, like, and then full with a FUL.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, and you can use it for many things. We'll be using it mostly for the application. On the other side, the website itself, it runs on WordPress, and WordPress has like all the known plugins to then make it multi-language. So exactly, we're using WPML on that side. And so the hard part for us, or I always wanted to have like one central element for the translators to be able to translate it. So what we actually did is we used SmartCat. Probably that you have heard of the tool. And SmartCat has, because I selected SmartCat because it has two integrators or two plugins, one for Contentful and one for VPML. So basically we are taking the content from the website and the app, which has like overlapping content, obviously. And we both pull it into SmartCat, and where we ask then translators to work in SmartCat so that it uses the same translation memory and can do the pre-translation, and you can see the cross file references.
So this is a very good few words about SmartCat. I love the tool. It's very user-friendly. I have used it a few times. I liked it. Also, it has many other features to for translators and translation agencies. So high five for the SmartCat guys. I like them. We used to talk to each other in content marketing projects, but I still love the people and the tool. So Philip, what's really interesting is that again you are you had some technical challenges, but you could solve them, because starting a localization project is a very challenging task, I know, for many people. But because the idea of integrating different tools, I think this has made it much easier for you to translate the content of the website. So again, so now you have already chosen the countries, the content to be translated. How did you choose your translators? I mean, did you have any certain criteria before you just start working with them?
Yeah, I would say we were like a very early stage startup still. So one factor is definitely pricing. Like in terms of like an easy way is to do is sometimes to like an established agency, they would take over the process. They would do probably even tool integration. They would do like also SEO reviews, and like you would just basically book the complete package and you have peace of mind, and they would guide you through the process itself. But we quickly saw that the pricing is a little bit more elevated, and it might be justified, obviously. But in our stage, we kind of said, okay, we need to do still things internally. Like we try to figure out things ourselves, and would spend some more time to figure out the process, the tools. So pricing was obviously one thing, but then it is definitely like quality of the translation, tone of voice. Does it fit to our intended tone of voice? How smooth is the reading? So I think we had selected like some agency and freelance translators, and then sent out a sample translation. And then in the end, we looked at people that would fall into our price range and like what we can afford. And then I reviewed the German sample translation from the agency. Somebody else reviewed the Spanish internally in the team. And then we just rated it from, like how well does it read? And obviously you can give feedback also to other people and say like, and they would improve. But in our case, it was just like, okay, from those who translated the first time, who fits best to our tone of voice, who is the smoothest reading, and then we made a quick decision on that.
Yes, I got your point regarding which way to go through. Is it a translation agency? Is it a freelance translator? There are both work for them. Yes, I own an agency, but I still understand the point that at some point or for some certain projects, some people prefer to use freelance translators because they have, like, let's say, like not better but quicker communication, maybe better prices, Again, you can direct them to give them more direct instructions, or you can lead the way. And for the people who like to work with translation agencies, I think that they prefer to give them like the bulk, maybe like maybe like they have like 20 languages or even 5 languages, but with large volume, and they need it in a shorter time. Maybe they will go with a, but you had the time to do the quality assurance internally. Maybe the other people don't have the time to do the quality assurance internally. So both approaches are correct. It's always about your own stance and your own like needs from your translation supplier or localization supplier. So okay, back to the content again. You mentioned that when we were talking about the ROI of the localization part, you mentioned the client acquisition. So your approach for translating the content to acquire more customers from search engines like Google, definitely, which has the largest part of the searches all over the world. Did you prepare or did you instruct your team of translators to translate the content in a certain way that attract or acquire customers from Google? Basically, technically, I'm talking about considering the search engine optimization principles when you are doing the translation of the application, or let's say the App Store optimization in the case of the application.
Yeah, so we definitely considered in part of the selection, and also part of the agreement with translators to write, especially the blog posts and the website, optimized for SEO, like for search engine optimization principles. And how it worked is we basically give the English content with the keywords that we're optimizing for in the English text. Good. And so they can do a quick search of like the English keywords. What are the most equivalent one in the respective language? What are getting most traction and traffic? And now, once we have published the blog post, we are using on WordPress like a plugin that analyzes the text for its SEO efficiency or SEO optimization.
Is it Yoast or another plugin?
Yeah, it's Yoast, exactly. And now the translators are doing a final post edit of the blog post in the local languages, so that it fits basically the rules that the Yoast plugin kind of gives them. So making sure that a lot of synonyms of the keywords are the headings there, are the meta descriptions there. So that's kind of the process that we have in place.
So Philip, definitely you are taking the process from A to Z and considering everything, which is really good. I mean, many people come to us without understanding the process, and then we try to convince them. They are not convinced. We translate at the way they need, and they come back to us. The translation is not showing in Google or not attracting enough customers. We say yes, because we did not apply the search engine optimization principles. This was not part of the contract. So definitely you are doing an amazing job of localizing. I mean, you are taking care of every part. I'm quite sure that you have. I mean, I know 2 of your translators, Gabriella, and I'm not sure of the German. Yeah. We met in Berlin when I went there, and I haven't met Gabriella, but from a linguistic or from a translator perspective, I'm quite sure that you have been an amazing client for them, because you understand the process. No much headache for them to translate. So my last question for you, like the one you needed some time to think about, what would you do? I mean, if you are starting over again the process, what would you do differently in this process?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, as I said, like we've used, like I had the ideal imagination of the process, how it would work, like everything smoothly integrates to SmartCat, and then translators can work in SmartCat, and just everything populates automatically. Like I am used to work with very technical tools, but this is like something that we realized in SmartCat is if you need to do, like, let's say the translators have done their proofreading and then edited everything, and then we do like an internal team quality assurance, and then we would like to change a term, and then this term needs to be changed in many files in SmartCat. It takes, like, you need to have, like, either have, I think, upgrade the plan even further, which is more cost to do like the global surge and global propagation of this change instead of like going into each file. So there are small things where it can be quite complicated if you separate those into each other so that everywhere. So I would probably either like if I have like different constraints in terms of financial, I would have like a project manager that has experience and would just take care of them and okay, we do it like this. And so definitely that would have been less headaches at some points. Or kind of saying, okay, we don't files and the translators use tools that they know quite well, like Trados, and translate it there and then just upload the files again. And if they need to make a change, they can make it in Trados because they know how to make global changes there, and then would re-upload the files directly to our content management platform. So I would be more cautious in terms of using ideal, but maybe complex processes and maybe simplify it or have somebody else set up an ideal process for me. So yeah.
Yes, definitely. I think now you are in a better position to stream or to structure the process. Before, I mean, I believe that you should have been through the process that you did actually to know the strong and weak points and which parts need to be fixed before hiring a project manager. Just if we disregard the financial constraints, definitely I think this is actually this is the way I like to do it. I like to test things first before hiring contractors or other outsiders to do the project. So I think now, even if you are not starting over, you are in a better position now to choose or to direct even or to lead your project manager regarding the steps and the qualifications you need, the requirements you are looking for, or the processes or technical aspects of the process that you need to fix. Okay, Philip, thanks so much for such an interesting interview. I really enjoyed it. I hope we can meet again in the future to know the actual ROI of the localization process, because I know that you have just finished it like 3 weeks ago. So definitely we will meet again to maybe hear some figures, at least from the traffic sources, to know if the process did well or not. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Bye.